The book gives a behind-the-scenes look at Foles' unlikely path to the Super Bowl. It'll be released on June 26th. So we need to get Mr. Foles on the show to talk about his incredible journey.
Yeah, we could recreate some of that Philly special magic with him as well. We did so with Trey Burton, now a Chicago Bear. Great stuff,
Absolutely.
Will. We'll talk to you in a little bit. Back here in studio, still focusing on the draft. I feel like we should do a late mid-round mock.
Yeah? Well, you know what? I'm not sure about the late mid-round mock, but you know what I would take first overall if we were doing a pro wrestling mock? I would take Andre the Giant. And Peter interrupted me yesterday. I thought it was really rude when I was trying to talk about it. There's this documentary out.
And you saw it?
I watched it last night. The thing that doesn't get talked about ever with Andre the Giant, did you know he can drink a lot of beers? He has incredible tolerance for it.
106 beers. Baby beers.
It's a baby beer in his hand. And I have other things to say about Andre the Giant. What, Peter? It's your show. Go. What do you want to do?
At any time in the show, I have the power to do this, even when Kyle's talking about Andre the Giant's 106 beer consumption.
Get him, wrestling Twitter.
Yep.
Get him.
WWE. Because we're a football show, and what we're going to talk about is the draft. And at any point in the show, I could press this button, and we had the lights come down, and we put you guys on the clock. We give you a team. We give you a scenario. And you guys don't know what's coming, but there might be some trade offers, and you have to make a pick for that team. So the segment's called Bro, You're on the Clock, and today's team is the Denver Broncos, who hold the 5th overall pick. Reggie, you are now Broncos GM, President of Football Operations, and your golfing buddy, John Elway.
Got it.
All right.
Gangster John.
Kyle, you are Team President and CEO, the great Joe Ellis. And Kay, you are second-year head coach, Vance Joseph. Now, we're about an hour into the draft. Let's see how the top 4 went. Players taken. Number 1, the Browns. They took Josh Allen.
Yes.
The Giants went and took Sam Darnold. The Jets then shocked everyone and said, you know what? We're taking Baker Mayfield.
Wow.
And the Browns, everyone said, okay, they got to take Nelson or Barkley. No. They took Nelson. They said, we're taking an offensive guard over Chubb. Let's see who's available on the list for the Broncos at 5 right now. Saquon's sitting there, guys.
Still sitting there.
Bradley Chubb, the best defensive player in this draft, sitting there. Of course, Ward, Edmonds, Fitzpatrick, Derwin James, Josh Rosen. You might want a quarterback. Is Case Keenum the future? I don't know. Roquan Smith. Denver Broncos, 3 minutes. You're on the clock.
John, as a former quarterback, you know the power of rushing the passer. We got Von.
Yep.
I love the double-ended attack of Chubb and Von on both sides. Like when we had DeMarcus and Von, we won the Super Bowl. I like Chubb. I think we go all in.
And I'm a defensive-minded coach, so that's very attractive to Miller and Chubb. But I will say, I'm so sick of people complaining about our rushing attack. We haven't had one. You know, Reggie Bush on Good Morning Football is talking about how important the running backs are. Get Saquon Barkley. Case Keenum will protect the ball, hand it off to him, and you will have success on offense, which we haven't had in so long.
Yes. Or we could also go with the quarterback and to create some healthy quarterback competition.
John, you're the legend. Do you like this quarter? Do you like Josh Rosen? He's left on the board.
I like Josh Rosen a lot. I mean,
but you like Case Keenum too, right?
I do like Case Keenum a lot too. But that healthy quarterback competition.
Hold on a second.
Hold on.
Hold on a hot second.
Hold the phone.
Somebody calling to make some business. Let's see who we got here, guys. Broncos War Room, what can I do for you?
Denver, it's Miami and your old buddy Adam Gase. Here, we got a trade offer. I am going to offer you Jawan James, our offensive tackle, and also our first-round pick, the 11th overall pick, for the 5th overall pick. I know you're on the clock, so get back to me quickly. Jawan James and the 11th overall pick. We want to jump 6 spots to 5. Let me know.
Nice to hear from Coach Gase. Yeah. Nice to hear from him. John, what do you think?
I still don't know what they're doing in Miami, but okay.
It's a huge mystery, but they want to do business with us.
I like it.
I like it. I'm not sold on it.
Can I help you?
Yes.
What if we do that, and then with that, what is it, the 11th?
Yeah, 11th.
We get, I don't know, Darius Geis to help us with the run game. Our offensive line is, we took Bowles early. Now our offensive line, which, by the way, we all know this, we gave up the 3rd most sacks in the league last year. Get Darius Geis.
I love Geis.
Or Harold Landry.
Harold Landry, hold on. Let's see who it could be. All right, here we go. Ready?
Don't answer it.
Okay, that means they mean business. I want to make sure they mean business.
Okay, got it.
Hello. Yes, I'll accept the charges.
Denver, it's New England. It's me, Bill Belichick. Okay, I want that 5th overall pick. We are offering the 23rd overall pick, the 31st overall pick. And I hate doing this because I love the kid, and he's a great worker. Oh, do I hate doing this, but I will throw in our running back, James White. That's the 23rd overall pick, the 31st overall pick, and our running back, James White, for the 5th overall pick. Let me know.
That's Belichick. Couple picks. James White. We have 15 seconds to make this pick.
Juwan James will help the offensive line get guys later in the draft. Take the Dolphins.
But we talked about adding to that run game. James White, man, I love.
Is he going to do what he does in New England and Denver? You take him out of there?
Barkley's on the board. What are you guys talking about?
Will.
I think we should take Chubb. We're on the clock. We're on the clock, John.
I'm gonna go with
Saquon.
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley to the
We're going
Broncos.
Saquon Barkley. I think we're going to stay. We're not going to trade the pick. We're going to get better right now.
Okay.
I like this pick.
Probably the best
Saquon
player in the
Barkley.
draft,
Best
right?
player
He's
in the
coming to
draft.
Denver. We're going to run the hell out of it. Terrell Davis,
run the hell
fingerless
ball.
gloves, mile high salute.
I like talking to Bill.
It was really cool. I'm going to start 69 him right now. I got you, Belichick, right here. I got all your numbers.
We'll be back.
I like Saquon.
Belichick doesn't dial.
Bro, you're on the clock. You never know when it's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen on this show. It's been reported that the highly anticipated conversation between Cowboys owner Jerry Jones and his receiver Des Bryant, that is going down tomorrow. Epic drafts of all time. I cannot wait to learn about it. Stay tuned right now. It's a deeper dive.
All right, okay, thank you. Okay, it's time of the year where we start having great debates about this draft, but also what's the greatest draft class ever? You know, people will say the 83 class with Elway and Marino and Kelly. Others will say the 2011 draft with J.J. Watt and Cam Newton.
2006.
2006 draft with Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart and those guys. But to me, the 1989 draft is the greatest draft all day, every single second of every day. The NFL history was shaped and molded forever in a 1-hour window on Sunday, April 23rd in the Marriott Marquis Hotel right down the road. But before we get to that draft, we really have to go back to week 16 of the 1988 NFL season. In an utterly meaningless game played in Tempe, Arizona, the 3-12 Don Majkowski-led Green Bay Packers pulled an upset and beat the 7-8 Phoenix Cardinals, not the Arizona Cardinals, the Phoenix Cardinals. Why'd that game matter? Because on the same day, in an empty Texas stadium, the 3-12 Cowboys got their butts whipped by Randall Cunningham and the Eagles. What'd that mean? It meant that the Cowboys would have the number 1 pick and the Packers would have the number 2 pick. The Packers needed a quarterback. Didn't work out that way because the Cowboys at number 1, the start of the Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson era. Their first pick together, who'd they take? Mr. Troy Aikman. Look at Troy, first overall here. And you have to think, all right, Berman, Theismann, TJ.
Wow.
What could have been? So that game was meaningless, week 16. What if the Packers lose to the Cardinals? They would have the first pick. Troy Aikman could have been a Packer. Okay, so put that in your head. So if Troy Aikman was a Packer, then Brett Favre isn't going to ever be a Packer, right? Because they've got Aikman, right? And then if Aikman is on the Packers, what does that mean with the Dallas Super Bowl teams? Does Steve Walsh lead them? Like, we don't know. Okay, so let's put that out there. Aikman's number 1. Green Bay, then, is number 2, right? The pick, before we get there, here's a quote from the Chicago Tribune, 1989 draft preview, 2 days before the draft. The player's name is not going to be mentioned when I do this. I want you guys just to listen to the quote.
Okay.
Quote, "The player with the highest grade in the draft is blank. A surer thing than most quarterbacks he will ever have to protect. The Green Bay Packers have their eyes on him, and they are not entertaining a trade." End quote. Of all the future Hall of Famers that are in this draft, that was the write-up for this guy. He also had the Sports Illustrated cover. His name was Tony Mandarich. His nickname was the Incredible Bulk, and he was as highly coveted an offensive lineman that the NFL had ever seen up until that point. The pick was never questioned at that point. He was taken 2nd overall. Do you know who number 3 was? No. Let's see. The rival Detroit Lions were up at 3rd overall, and they went with another offensive player, a Heisman winner, actually. He was the first junior to leave college, a true junior, in 54 years. Crazy stat. Underclassman. His name was Barry Sanders. Guys, you can look at that picture, and that's just awesome. But I don't think we make enough about how good Barry Sanders' junior season at Oklahoma State was. Barry goes to Detroit, but look at these games. I got a couple screens here. I want you to read the stats here.
Look at the Tulsa game.
18 rushing attempts, 178 yards. 20 rushing. 33 rushing yards for 304 yards. 24 rushing attempts. Okay, next page. Let's look at it. It only gets better here. 18 for 189 versus the black shirts in Nebraska. 20 for 33 for 320 against Kansas State.
Come on, Mizzou.
24 for 215 against Switzer's Oklahoma Sooners. Next slide. Let's see more.
I want more.
It only gets crazy. The bowl game, he went nuts. He had another 225 yards. He was putting up 300-yard rushing games in college. Reggie, you're one of the most decorated running backs to ever step on a college gridiron. Those stats blow even your Heisman Trophy winning season away. Unbelievable.
This does.
He goes 3rd overall. Okay, but what if the Packers had taken him at 2? What if the Packers took Barry Sanders at 2? Think about that rivalry, Lions and Packers. You'd have Barry in a Packers uniform, and then what if the Cowboys took Barry at 1? Does Emmitt Smith ever go to Dallas? All right. Crazy stuff to start thinking about in hindsight. Number 4. We have perhaps the AFC's best linebacker of the entire 1990s. Kansas City takes Derek Thomas. He was the 1989 Defensive Rookie of the Year, the 1993 NFL Man of the Year. He's a 9-time Pro Bowler. And in 1990 against Seattle, he set an NFL record with 7 sacks in a single game. He's a college football Hall of Famer. He's a pro football Hall of Famer. Derek Thomas, you're not going to question Derek Thomas at number 4. However, who at number 5? The Atlanta Falcons. And we have one word. Dion.
That's amazing.
Maybe look at that outfit.
Prime time.
Maybe
Andrew Kramer.
Is that Andrew Kramer?
It is.
Maybe the best defensive back to ever play.
That's an amazing.
Look at that outfit on Dion.
Must be the money.
Jerry curl on the phone, the whole thing.
He has a phone in '89.
Yes, of course he did. He was
The only
Dion.
one.
Yeah. Hello, prime time. So let's look at that top 5 right now. And you're going to question this with any other draft. 4 Hall of Famers, each one perhaps the best at their very position in the decade of the 1990s, and that wasn't it. That draft also had Andre Rison, Steve Atwater, Trace Armstrong, Eric Metcalf,
Trace Armstrong,
Moose Johnston, Dave Meggett, Marion Butts, Mark Schlereth. This draft was loaded. You can bring me all your other draft classes. The 1989 draft class, top to bottom, is the greatest of all time. That's how I roll. Bring it, Twitter.
I'm sold. Barry Sanders would have played with Favre if they took him at 2 instead of Manrich. And forget about it. That's the NFC right there.
That would have been crazy.
I don't see how there's any debate. It's 89 for sure, even with a bust at number 2.
And Packers won more Super Bowls for sure.
Yes.
Honorable mention, 83.
83?
2011 gets a lot of love. There's one in the 60s with like 5 Hall of Famers also. 89.
Marion Butts.
Marion
Tony
Butts.
Mandarich. Tweet us, guys. Hashtag GVP. Awesome job by Schrags there. This